Chapter 15 of Tristram Shandy, Volume 1. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Julie van Wallichem. The Life and Opinions of Tristram Shandy, Gentleman, Volume 1, by Lawrence Sterne. Chapter 15. The article in my mother's marriage settlement, which I told the reader I was at pains to search for, and which, now that I have found it, I think proper to lay before him, is so much more fully expressed in the deed itself than ever I can pretend to do it, that it would be barbarity to take it out of the lawyer's hand. It is as follows. And this indenture further witnesseth, that the said Walter Shandy, merchant, in consideration of the said intended marriage to be had, and by God's blessing to be well and truly solemnized and consummated between the said Walter Shandy and Elizabeth Molyneux aforesaid, and divers other good and valuable causes and consideration him thereunto specially moving, doth grant, covenant, condescend, consent, conclude, bargain, and fully agree to, and with John Dickson and James Turner, Esquires, the above-named trustees, etc., etc., to wit, that in case it should hereafter so fall out, chance happen, or otherwise come to pass, that the said Walter Shandy, merchant, shall have left off business before the time or times, that the said Elizabeth Molyneux shall, according to the course of nature, or otherwise, have left off bearing and bringing forth children, and that in consequence of the said Walter Shandy having so left off business, he shall, in despite and against the free will, consent, and good liking of the said Elizabeth Molyneux, make a departure from the city of London, in order to retire to and dwell upon his estate at Shandy Hall, in the county of —, or at any other country seat, castle, hall, mansion house, messuage, or grange house now purchased, or hereafter to be purchased, or upon any part or parcel thereof. That then, and as often as the said Elizabeth Molyneux shall happen to be enceinte with child or children, severely and lawfully begot, or to be begotten, upon the body of the said Elizabeth Molyneux during her stay coveter, he, the said Walter Shandy, shall, at his own proper cost and charges, and out of his own proper moneys, upon good and reasonable notice, which is hereby agreed to be within 6 weeks of her, the said Elizabeth Molyneux's, full reckoning, or time of supposed and computed delivery, pay or cause to be paid the sum of £120 of good and lawful money to John Dickson and James Turner, Esquires, or assigns, upon trust and confidence, and for and unto the use and users, intent, end, and purpose following, that is to say, that the said sum of £120 shall be paid into the hands of the said Elizabeth Molyneux, or to be otherwise applied by them the said trustees, for the well and truly hiring of one coach with able and sufficient horses, to carry and convey the body of the said Elizabeth Molyneux, and the child or children which she shall be then and there enceinte and pregnant with, unto the city of London, and for the further paying and defraying of all other incidental costs, charges, and expenses whatsoever, in and about and for and relating to her said intended delivery and lying in the said city or suburbs thereof, and that the said Elizabeth Molyneux shall and may from time to time, and at all such time and times as are here covenanted and agreed upon, peaceably and quietly hire the said coach and horses, and have free ingress, egress, and regress throughout her journey in and from the said coach, according to the tenor, true intent, and meaning of these presents, without any let, suit, trouble, disturbance, molestation, discharge, hindrance, forfeiture, eviction, vexation, interruption, or encumbrance whatsoever, and it shall moreover be lawful to and for the said Elizabeth Molyneux, from time to time, and as oft or often as she shall well and truly be advanced in her said pregnancy, to the time heretofore stipulated and agreed upon, to live and reside in such place or places, and in such family or families, and with such relations, friends, and other persons within the said city of London, as she at her own will and pleasure, notwithstanding her present coverture, and as if she was a femme sole and unmarried, shall think fit. And this indenture further witnesseth, that for the more effectually carrying of the said covenant into execution, the said Walter Shandy, merchant, doth hereby grant, bargain, sell, release, and confirm unto the said John Dickson and James Turner, Esquires, their heirs, executors, and assigns, in the actual possession now being, by virtue of an indenture of bargain and sale, for a year to them the said John Dickson and James Turner, Esquires, by him the said Walter Shandy, merchant, thereof made, which said bargain and sale for a year bears date the day next before the date of these presents, and by force and virtue of the statute for transferring of uses into possession, all that the manor and lordship of Shandy in the county of Blank, with all the rights, members, and appurtenances thereof, and all and every the messuages, houses, buildings, barns, stables, orchards, gardens, backsides, tofts, crofts, garths, cottages, lands, meadows, feedings, pastures, marshes, commons, woods, underwoods, drains, fisheries, waters, and watercourses, together with all rents, reversions, services, annuities, fee-farms, knights' fees, views of frank pledge, escheats, reliefs, mines, quarries, goods, and chattels of felons and fugitives, felons of themselves and putent exigents, deedants, free warrants, and all other royalties and seigneuries, rights and jurisdictions, privileges and hereditaments whatsoever, and also the advowson, donation, presentation, and free disposition of the rectory or parsonage of Shandy aforesaid, and all and every the tenths, tithes, gleblands, and free words, my mother was to lay in, if she chose it, in London. But in order to put a stop to the practice of any unfair play on the part of my mother, which a marriage article of this nature too manifestly opened the door to, and which indeed had never been thought of at all but for my uncle Toby Shandy, a clause was added in security of my father, which was this, that in case my mother hereafter should at any time put my father to the trouble and expense of a London journey, upon false cries and tokens, that for every such instance she should forfeit all the right and title which the covenant gave her to the next turn, but to no more, and so on toties quoties, as ineffectual a manner as if such a covenant betwixt them had not been made. This, by the way, was no more than what was reasonable, and yet, as reasonable as it was, I have ever thought it hard that the whole weight of the article should have fallen entirely, as it did, upon myself. But I was begot and born to misfortunes. For my poor mother, whether it was wind or water, or a compound of both, or neither, or whether it was simply the mere swell of imagination and fancy in her, or how far a strong wish and desire to have it so might mislead her judgment, in short, whether she was deceived or deceiving in this matter, it no way becomes to me to decide. The fact was this, that in the latter end of September 1717, which was the year before I was born, my mother having carried my father up to town much against the grain, he peremptorily insisted upon the clause, so that I was doomed, by marriage articles, to have my nose squeezed as flat to my face as if the destinies had actually spun me without one. How this event came about, and what a train of vexatious disappointments in one stage or other of my life have pursued me from the mere loss, or rather compression, of this one single member, shall be laid before the reader all in due time. End of